And it's still unclear how many shooters there were. No arrests at this time, according to Fort Worth police. But police tell us they're still trying to comb through surveillance video, cell phone video, and flock camera video to figure out exactly what led up to this shooting. Cell phone video captures the chaos in West Fort Worth's Como neighborhood Monday evening. Oh my God! I can't move! Police say just before midnight, multiple people opened fire where a crowd was gathered off Horn Street. 3 people were killed, 8 others injured. The shooting took place about an hour and a half after Como Fest ended, a community celebration to kick off July 4th. Surveillance video obtained by Fox 4 shows a mass of people running and ducking for cover once gunfire erupted. On the 2 people shield a child from the gunshots up against the Como Food Mart. The wounded were rushed to hospitals in both private vehicles and ambulances.
So I ran this way because I knew my boys were on this end.
Tuesday afternoon, Kadesha Weatherly sat next to the spot where her son, 18-year-old Paul Timothy Willis, was shot and killed. The mother of 2 was at the shooting scene last night.
They didn't even let my baby make it to college. I just want them to remember his name, not just the 18-year-old victim, and the young lady as well. Her name should be said.
22-year-old Cynthia Santos was also killed. Her family tells Fox 4 she came to celebrate July 4th with her friend.
Where you at?
One woman reported her frantic route to safety. Screams are heard from victims before more gunshots.
You good?
A motive is still unclear. Fort Worth PD provided a written update on the investigation Tuesday, saying several unknown males started firing and then took off. Overnight, a Fort Worth police captain offered a brief on-camera update.
We don't know if this is domestic related, if it's gang related. It's too early to at this point.
Instead of calling for a day of mourning, we're going along with business as usual.
Community activist Kiev Tatum critical of the lack of a more visible public response from city leaders. The gun violence is similar to a mass shooting 2 years ago following the same 4th of July event. That time, 8 people were wounded. And the police chief did come to the shooting scene to provide updates to keep citizens informed.
We're committed to resolving the problems in our community. No doubt about it. But the reality is our leadership is not up for this challenge.
And Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker did release a statement today saying her heart breaks for the victims, their loved ones, and the entire Como community that works to build positivity and celebration in their community and also their city. Now, we're still waiting for the 3rd victim to be identified. And we know the 8 people who were shot and survived, they were taken to 3 different area hospitals, and they are recovering this evening. Steve?
All right, that's Peyton Yeager reporting. Peyton, thanks.
The FBI is offering a $28,000 reward for information that leads to the suspects in Sunday's mass shooting in Baltimore. 2 people were killed and at least 28 others injured at an annual neighborhood block party. CBS's Scott McFarland reports this was the country's 340th mass shooting this year.
At first, the hundreds of people jammed into the Baltimore Brooklyn Community Cookout mistook the gunfire for 4th of July fireworks.
We got to make some kind of change. Babies are dying.
20-year-old Kyla Fagbemi and 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez died. At least 28 others were wounded, more than half of them teenagers. Laquel Nelson helped load 2 of the injured into her car so she could race them to a hospital.
I have children myself, and I would have wanted someone to have done that for my child. If she was
Police say they suspect multiple shooters and at least 3 guns were used in the rampage. The investigation is focusing on this video posted on social media, which appears to show a young man drawing a firearm from a backpack near the event. But police say they've yet to review all the video and are still interviewing victims.
Are you concerned about retaliation and this triggering a cycle of gun violence?
Yes, we are concerned. We're always concerned about retaliation in every single incident.
Police acknowledged they were caught flat-footed since organizers failed to get a permit and police were unaware the event was happening. Were you short Saturday night?
We were looking into every single angle of that. But of course, the most important thing that we're doing right now is trying to find those who pulled the trigger.
We got multiple victims down.
Meanwhile, in Wichita, Kansas, at least one suspected gunman is in custody, more being sought in a mass shooting that wounded nearly a dozen at a nightclub Sunday. Back here in Maryland, the Baltimore mayor says the homicide rate is down here, and he's still encouraging people to go out and enjoy the 4th of July in the city. But it's a city that is jolted and shocked by a tragedy at a cookout that's been going on here for 27 years. Sharika?
All right, Scott, thank you.
Oh my God, yo. Damn.
From her front porch, Carlene Miller of Williamsbridge had a perfect and elevated view of a deadly crime scene investigation just steps away from her home of the last 7 years.
Scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you nervous.
Make you very nervous.
Police say the violent incident on East 214th Street by Miller's home took place around 1:30 Saturday afternoon. A 41-year-old who was shot in the chest died of his injuries at Jacoby Hospital.
I wasn't scary around this place, you know. Now I have to be, watching out, Yeah. I'm scary now. It's terrible.
This deadly shooting by East 214th Street and Wilson Avenue was one of several disturbing shootings to rock the Bronx since Friday. Police say just after midnight Saturday, a 37-year-old woman was shot in the head on Morris Avenue in Claremont. She died of her injuries. Then 4 hours later, around 4 a.m. on Saturday, cops say a triple shooting in Fordham Heights led to the death of a young man who was just 22 years old. Meantime, a disturbing shooting Friday that was not deadly found a young mother who was an innocent bystander being grazed in the left cheek by a bullet. Police say it happened Friday evening as she walked outside a corner deli in Mount Eden with her 6-month-old daughter and 4-year-old son who were not hurt. Surveillance images show a scary scene in which police say 2 men displayed firearms and fired multiple shots from a white BMW before taking off. Police say the gunmen were shooting at 2 men who were running away on foot. 12-year-old Miguel Salinas lives across the street from that deli and says he was inside his home helping his mother when he heard loud gunshots outside.
I just heard the 6 gunshots, and I didn't really look outside, but I just heard them. I just feel scared about the people in the neighborhood, and probably to be more safe.
So far, no arrests have been made in any of those shootings. Police are urging anyone with information to call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. In the Bronx, Ron Lee, New York 1.
We start in Philadelphia with an attack across 4 city blocks in the southwest part of the city. At least 5 people were killed. 2 other people were injured, both of them children. Police say the gunman had an AR-style rifle and a handgun, and he is now in custody. Waukesha Bailey from our CBS News Philadelphia station has the latest. Waukesha, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, the youngest victim hurt by gun violence is only 2 years old. Now, Philadelphia's mayor says that he is horrified by this shooting, and he also says that his heart is with the loved ones and the families involved. But there's still one question that's not answered. That's why
this person decided to leave their home and to target individuals.
On the streets of Southwest Philadelphia Monday night, police say a 40-year-old man opened fire, hitting at least 7 people.
Multiple shots fired.
Get a use caution. We get multiple calls still coming out. Anybody coming in, 5-6 to use caution. They're still out there shooting.
When police arrived at the scene, they could hear the gunshots ringing out.
All units use caution. We got somebody with a long gun.
Officers tracked down the alleged gunman and cornered him in an alley. He was taken into custody.
I was wearing a bulletproof vest with extra magazines in there as well.
Police say he was wearing a bulletproof vest with multiple rounds of ammunition in it, armed with an AR-style rifle and handgun. Officers arrested another person, but their connection to the alleged shooter is unclear.
As victims were being shot, we have another person that we believe acquired a gun and returned fire in the direction of the shooter that we have in custody.
The ages of the 4 victims killed range from 20 to 59. Police believe a 5th victim who was discovered dead in his home just after midnight is related to the shooting. 2 children were injured, aged 2 and 13 years old. They were taken to a hospital.
We're canvassing the area to get as much as we can to identify witnesses and do everything that we can to figure out the why behind this happening.
And police have not identified the victims or released a possible motive. Meanwhile, as of Sunday, we are told by city records that there have been at least 212 homicides here in Philadelphia, and that's a 19% decrease as the same period as last year.